So you're sick and tired of dealing with life insurance objections, and you're looking for a strategy to overcome them and close more life insurance policies. If that's you, you found the right video, so stick around. Greetings and salutations, it's David Duford, owner of Duford Insurance Group. I train agents to sell final expense, Medicare, annuities, and ACA successfully in person, over the phone, on a national basis. Check out davidduford.com for more information, and also click the free courses link at the top of the webpage. There I give away all of my best sales and marketing training for final expense, Medicare, annuities, and ACA, and more. And there's no cost whatsoever to join. Again, go to davidduford.com to learn more about joining or to get access to our free training. Objection number 1, I need to think about it. So here's how you deal with the I need to think about it sales objection when you're at the close of your life insurance presentation. First, say this: no problem, Mrs. Prospect, but when you say I need to think about it, how do you mean? This gives your prospect the opportunity to explain further where their holdup is. For the purpose of this video, let's say they're hung up about the price and aren't sure they want to spend as much as they originally thought. So here's the follow-up to further isolate the objection. No problem. So what you're saying is that the price may be a little too high and you're looking to see if you can get a better deal. They say yes. Then you say, so besides price being an issue, is there any other reason that you wouldn't move forward today based on what I've shown you? No, is what they usually say. And then you say, great. So if we can fix the price, get it to where it's comfortable, then you're ready to get started and ready to proceed. So we now have isolated the objection. They'll say yes, and we know from experience this is the only objection we need to worry about. So when we can reconcile the price issue, we can reconcile the sale and get the policy closed. So here's how it would end up closing. No problem, Mrs. Prospect. Here's the thing. We're just going to lower the price. Let's start you off with some coverage at a lesser price than no coverage at all, because you know you need coverage, you know it's important, and you know putting this off another day is not what you want. You want to relieve the burden of your dying on your loved ones. So let's get this taken care of. Who do you want your beneficiary to be? So notice how I really stuck to the main crux of what the sales presentation was about. I reminded them that they needed to do this, that their loved ones are in danger, and that the solution to this problem is not by putting off the premium investment, but it's by actually buying something today. And also notice I didn't argue about price. Instead, I just offered to lower it, making it a lot easier to buy. And the final thing that you need to see that you'll see on the other objection rebuttals are about to do is I always closed. So who do you want your beneficiary? That's the best close to use after any rebuttal, because it assumes that they believe what you said. You're not asking them, does that make sense or do you agree? You just assume it does and move out of the objection and into the application. Number 2, I need to talk to somebody else. So sometimes when you're selling life insurance, you'll hear people say, well, I need to talk to my wife, I need to talk to my kids, I need to talk to some sort of professional about this before I make a decision. And you need to know how to overcome that. So here's what we teach. First of all, say that's fine. There's no problem with you wanting to talk to your significant other. But let me ask you this. If they were here, what do you think they'd say? Would he have any reason to oppose getting a policy that both of you agree that you need? And if they say no, so go ahead and say, let's take care of this then. He already agreed that you needed it. And what harm are we doing by taking action on something so important that both of y'all agree on? And look, if worst case scenario, you got to call back and tell me, you know, my husband doesn't want me covered. My husband wants to cover all the expenses. He wants to go into debt when I die. Then I'll be happy to cancel the plan, no problem whatsoever. You know, you say the last part kind of jokingly because it sounds ridiculous and it's supposed to be. And then from there, you just go ahead and close. So who do you want your beneficiary to be? Number 3, I don't need life insurance. Now, I think this is something you hear more often in the beginning of a sales call, maybe perhaps when you're booking appointments. So what I'm going to focus on is overcoming those initial objections, booking appointments to talk about selling life insurance to somebody who doesn't think they need it. So pro tip, the best person to sell a policy to is not the person that does not own it, but it's actually the person who already owns life insurance. Think about it. There's all sorts of people out there who claim that life insurance is important, but won't spend a dollar on actually taking action on that belief. Somebody who's buying life insurance, who's paying the premium every month, is a believer. And the best person to sell something to is one who takes action on those beliefs. And the truth is, many people who believe in life insurance don't realize to the extent that they need more. Think about the last couple of years, how prices for housing has gone up, how inflation has impacted everything. All of this is good news for the life insurance agent because it gives us more ammo to suggest why people need to own more than what they originally thought just several years ago. So here's the script to overcome this objection of I don't need any more life insurance. Hey, that's no problem, Mrs. Prospect. It's just my job to deliver this information to you, to show you how these programs work. What you do with it's up to you. Why don't I stop by at 10 o'clock or does 2 work better? So what I did there is I didn't even sell sell any of the things that I already said. You see, when you're selling an appointment, you never sell the product. In other words, I don't want to start pitching somebody who doesn't know who I am, because when it's coming from a stranger, it's not going to be as well received than coming from somebody who you've built rapport and trust with. So what we do when we're setting appointments and hearing the "I already got life insurance, I'm not interested" objection is to not sell against that as much as it's my job to deliver the appointment. It's my job to go over it with you. And then to relieve burden of buying by saying there's no obligation whatsoever from purchasing. And then closing for the appointment on an assumed yes or yes close by saying, can I come over at 10 or does 2 work better? Number 4, I'm not interested anymore. Guys, don't even believe this crap when people say it. They say this all the time. Maybe they just had a bad day and they don't know who you are and you've caught them on the wrong day. And they just say this stuff to get rid of you because they don't want to slow down, think about this, and take care of things. The overcome to this is exactly the same as what we would do if we were booking an appointment and they gave us the objection, "I've already got life insurance." Here's how it sounds. "Hey, no problem, Mrs. Prospect. It's just my job to deliver this information. What you do with it's entirely up to you. I'm going to swing by at 10 o'clock or does 2 work better?" So again, I know that true objection is actually underneath the surface. Them saying "I'm not interested" is just a smokescreen. It's not the full story. And what I would ask you to do as agents selling life insurance is you've got to work on realizing that people don't mean what they say. It's crazy, right? People say things all the time, but there's an underlying reality that isn't as well manifest. I mean, think about it. You're calling them out of the blue, unsuspected, and this is like the first response that comes out of their mouth. It's not the truth. And it's not that they're lying. They just haven't had the time to process this and to basically give you the true objection. What's the true objection? The true objection is they don't know who you are. They're busy. They're worried about commitment. And this is why we sell the appointment. There's very little time commitment. There's no obligation to buy. It just takes 5 minutes because it's easier to sell to that unspoken real objection than try to reason or rationalize why "I'm not interested anymore" actually isn't the case. Objection number 5, it's too expensive. So here's my advice in dealing with this objection. It's a little unusual. I don't recommend pushing price on somebody who pushes back on the initial price that you showed them. Here's the reason why. We get paid as insurance agents not on the initial sale, but on the retention of that policy over the first year. In other words, I want to make sure what I sell actually sticks. Because if you don't, then you'll have what's called a chargeback, and now you owe back money that you originally paid. So to avoid this altogether, when I get to the close and the price comes up and they say it's an issue, I just reduce the price. I say something like, "Hey, no problem, Mr. Prospect. Look, I don't want you to spend more than you can afford. Let's take a step down, lock in a lower price. Yes, it's less coverage, but it solves the problem. You now have peace of mind, and we can always get more coverage later when your budget affords it." This is the exact thing I would tell my mom. Don't spend more than you have to. Get enough coverage that you can afford, and that's going to give you the peace of mind you deserve. So who do you want your beneficiary to be? So that's how you overcome the 5 biggest, most common objections in selling life insurance. Please take this training and put it into action, because that's the only way it's going to give you results. And make sure you go to davidduford.com if you'd like to learn more about our free training courses for final expense, Medicare annuities and ACA, and more. And also to learn more about joining Duford Insurance Group to sell final expense Medicare annuities and ACA. Thank you.